Hey, everybody. It's Sean. I'm back. What's up, Geno?
What? You're so mad. I don't like to see you so upset.
Tired of the internet.
The internet needs to get off your lawn.
Mm-hmm. It really does.
What's up, Sean?
I'm getting my shotgun ready. Oh, I'm all right. I'm back. Back in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
The way everybody loves me.
It's nice to see the books behind you and the poster, the nation, whatever the hell that is.
It's a stormtrooper with the Steelers logo on it.
You're not wearing a stupid Steelers shirt today.
No, I'm wearing I'm wearing pandas with steel chairs, and apparently I got some sort of breakfast on it right there. So that's classy.
All right.
Yep.
So we're here to talk NXT, and there was a very good takeover event just yesterday that you had to miss because real life gets in the way sometimes.
Yep.
Took care of business without you, but you're back. We're anxious to hear your grade and talk about the show and get into everything. But first, you tweeted some reactions to the show. Caused a bit of an uproar.
I guess so.
And the threads are also upset at us and you because you made the title, "Hey, we want some Sigh-Lence." I'd like to read a specific comment. I'd like to read a specific. It's funny, you always say maybe we'll get to questions and comments, and we never get to questions and comments. Literally, it never happens. So I'd like to read a specific comment, if that's okay. That's when you say, yeah, it's okay.
That's what I meant when I said, then I gave you a hand gesture that said, go ahead.
I can't.
Don't start.
Your video's frozen. I don't think it's on my end, though. Your video's messed up.
No. Oh, dude. Well,
yeah, you're
talk. I'm going to turn my camera off.
Yeah, you're kind of going in and out. And I'm having trouble even hearing you now. So once again with this shit. What are you doing to me, Sean? Are you back?
I'm trying. I did my camera on. I don't.
I can't hear you at all. It's great. Fucking, they don't want us to talk about this, apparently.
No. Hear me?
It's your like really bad in and out.
Anybody hear me?
It's really bad.
I don't know.
There you go. It's kind of reset.
Can we stop?
Can we what?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Now I can.
Now you just broke up on me. All right.
It's not me this time. Is there a cat that's fucking with a cord? Isn't that what happened last time? Sean, now you're just gone. What fucking internet company are we cutting a promo on now? Who do you use, Sean, when because this is ridiculous? Sean. Sean, are you gone completely? Can anyone hear me? Hello? It's Cageside. He's joining this call. Sean, are you here now? I can't hear you at all. I can see that you joined. Your video's off, but I can't hear you. Can K-Tiders hear me? I've just got a text that they can hear me, they can't hear you. This is pretty funny turn of events here because it's usually MediaCom.
Are you back?
I'm.
Can anyone hear me?
We can hear you now.
I don't know. Right after I was saying you said I was back, I got a message that said video call ended.
It's
loading my app. Now it says.
Yeah, I can see in the Hangout gimmick that your mic is muting and unmuting repeatedly. What the hell, Sean? This is like the worst radio that's ever happened. But people saying they can hear me. So I'll just start. And hopefully you can get your shit figured out while I'm
Can you hear me? Am I?
Yeah, I can hear you. Talk.
Fuck. I'm talking.
You're still going in and out.
I don't know what I don't. All right. Well, you talk and I don't know.
Here's what you'll do. I'll talk. Here's what you'll do.
Yeah.
You'll click out of this, reset your internet, and come back. It'll take you a few minutes, but I'll just yak, all right? And then get back in here. Cool? All right. I still can't hear you. Just do that, okay? Anyway, we were going to start by addressing we're talking a lot about crowds and how much we don't like when crowds go into business for themselves, specifically Full Sail, but this show wasn't at Full Sail. It was in London. And London was quite lively. They were chanting pretty much the entire show. And let me shut that off. How does Sean do this? This is horrifying. I need Sean to come back. Anyway. And for the first time, Sean is united with me on an issue that literally everyone else is against us on said issue. This crowd. And I'd like to read a specific comment in the thread that we never get to, but we will here. It's from a user with the name Vidance. I think that's how you say that. And he says, Geno and Sean, if you want to hear some quality crowd silence, I'm sure you can find a bunch of Pro Wrestling Noah shows in front of empty houses on Daily Motion. As I said in the daily thread last night, can you both try to stop being cornetier old men here? You guys sound so stuffy with this. The fans were invested in the show and supported the performers they liked, who were all baby faces, I might add. How is that a bad thing? Hot crowds make the shows more fun, whereas the raw crowds sitting on their hands make the shows an even bigger slog. Okay. To address this, that's taking what we've said to an extreme that we did not go to. That is essentially, I mean, that's some straw man shit. That's some Braun straw man argument shit right there. At no point, Sean fucked it up, I guess. So Sean represented that we wanted silence. I don't want silence. I never said I wanted silence. I love hot crowds. I've maintained that all along. Sean is just being a sarcastic asshole with that title. We don't want silence, obviously. And even mild chanting is in some ways acceptable. It's just when you get to a point when the entire fucking show is, I mean, these people were singing. If I wanted to hear bad singing, I would listen to the radio, which I'm a curmudgeon at this point. There's a ton of shitty music featuring a ton of shitty singers that I don't even know what it is at this point. It ain't what it used to be. And I'm only 28 years old. How fucked up is that? But it's the whole show, and these people are singing and they won't stop. And I didn't turn the network on thinking, I can't wait to hear a very big crowd sing chants to wrestlers who are trying to wrestle a match. Does that mean it was bad? Not necessarily, because I wasn't sitting there and going, God, I'm so tired of this. That's not how I felt at all, at any point. It was just Okay. At some point, it's like Dave said. Dave Walsh, who did the recap for Sean, stepped in for him on Twitter. I like that he said, at some point you have to realize you are at a performance and not a part of the performance. And you could even argue that point. I don't mind some chanting. I don't mind if you're, if Asuka is in a sleeper and you're trying to get her back in it, that you start chanting, "Let's go, Asuka," something like that. I don't mind that at all. I mean, we talk about you'd never do this in other spots, and we're actually wrong when we say that, because you go to a football game and your team is down by a touchdown, but they're on defense and need to get the ball back for the offense. The crowd sometimes will chant, "Defense," done, all that bullshit. So sometimes it's totally acceptable. Sean just texted me that he's so pissed he shouldn't even be allowed to use words if he can get back on. We hope he does. But so chants happen in sports. And this is kind of whatever. It's not a sport, but it's kind of the same dynamic. So I don't necessarily mind when you're doing a chant to try to support who you're there to see. I'm a Bears fan. If I go to a Bears game and I chant defense, I'd say I want my defense to do well, and I'm chanting and getting them pumped. Or the other team's on offense, you just make a shitload of noise so that you can hopefully fuck up the other team's offense. Make it hard for them to hear the snap count. Make them go to a silent snap count. Make it more difficult for their offense to do what they need to do. You achieve that not by chants, but by making noise, just being really fucking loud. It's really difficult to play in Seattle because the crowd is really, really, really loud. But at no point do any of the people at a Seahawks game start chanting by singing songs. It's not what you do, and it's just kind of dumb. Now, it's relatively harmless, and at this show, I feel like you have an argument if you say created a great atmosphere. I said that on Twitter last night in response to someone asked me, "What'd you think of the crowd?" I got kind of tired of their singing. So yeah, I got kind of tired of it too, but it's one of those things that it's sort of a give and take. If that's what I have to put up with to get such a great atmosphere, then I guess I'll put up with it. That doesn't mean we're going cornet tier old men here. That's a ridiculous over-exaggeration of our stance on this issue. And to say we want silence is an even more ridiculous over-exaggeration on this issue, because at no point, again, Sean made the snarky-ass title, but at no point did everyone sit on your hands. It's not what we want. Again, in football, you want to fuck up the coordinator. Oh, here we go. Sean's back. If you want to fuck up the other team's offense, you just get really loud. But you don't get really loud by going, "You fucked up. You fucked up," or, at no point at a football game do you start chanting, "This is football." It's just, at some point, it's like, this is just dumb. You're too aware of your own shit and not into the action. Again, if you're chanting, "Let's go Asuka," "Let's go Bayley," stuff like that, try to get the babyface back in it, that's cool. Otherwise, it's just kind of dumb. So to call us cornet tier old men is a super over exaggeration and an extreme reaction to not really an extreme expression of how we're feeling on this. Sean,
yes.
You are pissed. Everything's way better. Your video looks good. Sounds good. Now, what do you have to say about all this? I know you're upset. You don't want to be able to use words. Use them.
Here's my... Well, I thought for a second there, I was going to have to go fucking kill Comcast. Go Mediacom on Comcast, but seems like we're all right, so hopefully that holds. Here's my thing. I think you hit on my general critique, which is I didn't hate the crowd. I thought they fucked up the Bayley match for me a little bit. I thought because I think when I caught the tail end of your rant, I think it also happened during the Enzo and Cass versus Mechanics match too a little bit. There were points for me where there should have just been cheering for the babyface comeback, not a song. So, and I understand I'm not British. I'm not a big soccer fan, football fan. So that's not my I'm not used to that vibe from live shows. So that's one thing. There's a cultural disconnect. That's fine. But I'm just saying, I mean, first of all, it's just my opinion. When they're selling that Bayley's selling that she's being murdered and she's trying to get in a legit submission hold, a choke hold, and you're singing like romance songs to her. That doesn't work for me. It didn't ruin the match. It took me out of it though. That's it. That's all I said. So if that makes me an old man, fuck it. I'm an American too. God damn it. For all the good and bad that comes with that. My real problem though is twofold. One is, and I've had this argument with fucking Full Sail types too. If you want to make yourself a part of the show, people are going to fucking talk about you. So that's your right. Go ahead. You're the third performer in that ring last night, London. Congratulations. I'm glad you had a good time. But we have a right to talk about it because you didn't shut up. That's all. I mean, it's just you want to be a part of the show, so people are going to react positively and negatively. There's a lot of people who say, I loved it. It made it. So are they not allowed to say that? Why? I can't make a criticism, but you could take don't be so fucking thin-skinned. If you want to do that and you want people to say, you guys were the greatest crowd ever, we loved you, you got to fucking deal with a few people like me, maybe cranky-ass old men who say, I didn't like it so much. Sorry.
Now, they could say, don't be so thin-skinned at our criticism back of it. So that's the give and take.
I mean, it is. It's a two-sided coin. So either way, we're being hypocritical. Somebody's being hypocritical, but
no, we're not. We're just stating how we feel, and everyone's kind of battling about it. I do think it's funny.
My other 2.2, I'm going to fucking cut you off, motherfucker. I'm on fire! My other thing, I'm not really on fire.
No, do it. I like it.
That was cathartic. It's the same, and it's this Twitter culture. It's not, I don't want to put anybody on blast. It's just, just because I make a joke on Twitter or I write the snarky headline to this, which is always a joke. It's all, I mean, that whole intro is not, it's CSL kayfabe. We're making jokes. That's it. So don't fucking fly off the handle like, I'm not listening to this show because you disagree with me. What? I mean, what the fuck is that? Why? Don't listen. I'm going to go Kevin Owens on you. Don't listen to the show then. If you can't take a fucking joke in the headline, I don't want you listening because you're probably going to fucking kill yourself over some of the stuff we say on here.
Oh, my.
I mean, God damn it. Why can't we just have a conversation? I'm the biggest defender of the internet in the goddamn world. I use smarks as a term of fucking pride. But you guys are annoying the shit out of me this week. When things are bad, everybody wants to complain. But when things are good, you can't say one negative fucking thing or you don't know. Why don't you shut up and enjoy the product? Why don't you stop being an old man and have fun? Fuck you. You like it when things are bad when I criticize stuff. God damn it.
When things are bad and you say, it's when things are bad that you're too negative.
Exactly. Then why can't we all be more like Handstock? Things are good. Oh, Jesus Christ. You're like Cornette.
Then you're a liar.
There's no in between.
Yeah. There's just, you can't please everybody is what it is. And
can't please anybody.
You're pleasing me right now. This is outstanding. It's dangerous though. Don't stay this way because you're.
I'm not really this. I was earlier. Like when the thread first went up for the post, and the first 10 comments are all like, "I'm not going to listen to this because I don't like them being mean to London." Then I was hot at that point, but I've calmed down since then. But the internet connectivity problems actually brought it all back for me. So you're welcome.
Well, I think this is one of the first times you've been on the wrong side of like an issue that people are very passionately on the other side.
People were not happy with me not being all in on the Roman Empire on Monday and Sunday and Monday either. I've had it all week. I don't know what we've done a double turn here on Cageside Live.
I guess you're supposed to be the counterbalance that calms me down, man.
I know.
I've literally been told before, don't do shows with anyone other than Sean because you need him to be your, he's your other half, so to speak.
I'm your anchor.
Again, and I think it's funny because there's a comment there like, calling me a cornet to your old man is an exaggeration. And literally like 2 sentences before I had said, I don't listen to any new music. It's all trash. So,
and I just went off on a cornet rant. So we just proved everybody right.
So let us just, mea culpa. We're so full of shit. It's unreal. And we're totally cornet to your old man. No, I don't know.
I mean, everybody just needs to recognize that we're all just fucking, yakking about a pretend fight where, yes, people do get hurt and everything, but it is where, I mean, it's an inherently silly form of entertainment. I love it to death, but it is, and we're all just picking it apart because that's what we like to do. So fucking focus on the fact that we have in common that we love pro wrestling, and not take it so personal when somebody disagrees with your opinion about something.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. And you're right, too. And I think you touched on something important. And I do think that the dude who said, I'm not going to listen, because I actually like that guy. I know that guy. He tweets us.
I like all the people. That's why I was so upset. Is because I actually like all of those people who were commenting.
Yeah,
I love you, Biden, but you pissed me off this morning.
Yeah, I specifically read his comment and called him out. But I love his comments. And he disagrees with me constantly.
Oh, me too.
I don't mind that. I like him a lot. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to wrestling. And he's not condescending.
No, and he backs up his opinions. Yeah,
exactly. I like him a lot. He writes stuff for the site sometimes, so I don't mind it. But there is something. Anyway, to what I was going to say is there is something to the cultural differences of that's what we do. If you don't like it, then again, fuck off, and that's fair. You can tell me to fuck off, and so I'm not gonna. You're not wrong. I'm not saying anybody's wrong to say you guys are just being fucking old men. You want some silence. No, we don't want silence. I just don't, I don't want to hear you crowds fucking marking out for yourselves. And that's, again, it's fine if that's what it's fun for you. And I appreciate that it did help create a fun atmosphere at times. And then other times, not so much. You're right. Like, there's some matches where it's like, I wish they'd shut the fuck up already. Or just be loud. You can make noise without saying words and drawing attention to yourself.
I mean, maybe it's just what I'm used to, but like I said, in that Bayley match, once it got to, I thought, and that's the thing too, is for 90% of the show, I thought the chants were clever. I thought it gave it a unique feel. Yeah, I liked it a lot, but there were a couple points where, for me, it took me out of it, where I just wanted to hear, let's go, Bayley, and I would have been all in. Because that to me, as an American fan, I guess, is what I expect when a character that I'm invested in starts to overcome the odds. That's how most of us would react. Even a smarky ass Full Sail crowd probably doesn't do the 2 Live Crew chant there. So I mean, yeah. And the headline, I was just trying to come up with something that tied into the past with the 2 Live Crew thing, and I was doing what London was doing, which is taking stuff that rhymed and fit it in other songs. So it's just a joke.
I also, and the last point on this before we stop talking about the crowd stuff, which is part of the problem, because here we are 20 minutes into a really good show. We haven't fucking talked about the show at all. We're talking about the crowd. I think it sets a dangerous precedent. It makes it to where they become the show. Right. And then other crowds are going to want to do the same thing.
And they're not going to be as good at it.
And not even that, it's just going to be even more annoying. And then it's so much less about what we're all there to do, which is watch wrestling. So, and then, if I was watching a football game and this shit was going on, I wouldn't want to watch anymore. It would literally just be like, this is just so stupid. Just enjoy what you're watching. You can make noise without chanting words. I don't understand. That's my thing. You want silence? No, I don't. I want you to be really loud. I want it's fucking 4th and goal at the 4-yard line, and your team's on defense, and if they score, they go to the playoffs, and the whole stadium is shaking because you're being so loud. But it ain't because you're chanting the lyrics to some fucking song and then changing one of the words to be the name of someone on the defense. That's not fun to me. It's way more fun to just be really loud and go, that was a cool atmosphere. Noise itself will give you that atmosphere. You don't need the chanting and singing to go with it,
Yeah, and I'm not, if this makes me an old man, I've been an old man since I was a fucking kid, because I have always hated the wave, even at baseball games where there are times where it's slow enough that it's justified. That's just me. I like to focus on what I'm there to focus on, not.
You go to a show with me and when there's a wave and you participate in the wave, that's the last show we go to together.
I will chop block you like you're Big Cass and I'm Scott Dawson. That's what'll happen if you do the wave with me at the show.
I will pick you up like you're Enzo Amore and throw you into somebody else like
fucking A, flying Enzo. So let's talk about wrestling. Yeah, I think that's what they've never like a fish. That's what
I heard him say Air Enzo. So
Air Enzo. You're right. Air Enzo. That's what it is. Sorry. So, and I don't know that that's official. That's just what Rich Brennan calls it.
Walsh called it the rocket launcher, which I thought was fucking awesome.
Poor demoted Rich Brennan.
Yeah, man, Morrow's so much better though.
Oh, I agree. I like Brennan, but I think it's just they made a big splash out of Brennan, and then 2 months later they fucking that was only if we couldn't get Ronaldo.
I hope they let him be himself because his excitement, his enthusiasm is infectious. It really is.
What does Handstock call him in Slack? Manalo or something. He bungles he botches his name every time. It's fucking.
Handstock's not a fan. Then again, it's so funny. We don't like the chants and stuff. I like the Gus Johnsons of the world. I like excitement.
I like Gus Johnson. He's like the chance for me. Certain times, yes, but he usually goes overboard for me. But
I guess it's the part of the it's a give and take. Anyway, let's talk wrestling.
Yep.
So just to restart again, what's up, Sean?
I don't know. I'm good. I'm back in Baltimore. I got my camera gimmick set back up.
I like that you can never keep that gimmick going. Not much, man. How are you? Which is what you said every time for like 6 times, and I started like marking for it. I liked it, so I try to get to it, and you always fuck it up.
I didn't even know it was a gimmick. That's why. There you go. Sorry. I'm good. Geno, how are you?
Not much, man. How are you? That's the word, you fucker. I'm good. I think I handled your absence relatively well, even though I cut a small promo on the entire music industry.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah. I did say, and you can't say that we don't ever. Excuse me. I told everybody on Twitter. I said thanks to whoever called me out for saying NXT might have a tough time following WWE, because that was nonsense when I said that. So I'm definitely willing to eat some fucking crow when I need to.
You're not alone there, dude, though. I mean, everybody was making the jokes about. I mean, this is the first time they haven't conclusively. I mean, you can argue grades, but this is the first time that NXT hasn't just definitively knocked the WWE show that it was closest to out of the water.
Yeah, Vidance was also bashing me because I still think TLC was a better show than TakeOver. He said, well, he's wrong. I mean, he can think that, but it's a wrong opinion. It's not a wrong opinion.
And that's funny because that's throwing your gimmick back at you, where you did the poll about how this is the match of the night or you're wrong, and sit there in your wrongness.
What was match of the night? John Cena versus Kevin Owens? Any other match because my opinions are bad. But the actual people were so mad, dude.
I remember, yeah.
People I respect. I don't like this because I feel like you've insulted me. Because I didn't think it was match of the night. Now I know you think my opinions are bad. And I do not appreciate those. Yeah, ergo. I will not visit your site today.
Mm-hmm.
They were in a thread 2 hours ago.
I put in Cageside in internet timeout. Shit.
So before we get to anything else, I personally have been dying to hear this. Because you were on a streak.
Mm-hmm.
Every TakeOver special this year, you gave at least an A. It was A-, A-, and then you didn't get to grade this show because you weren't going to be able to watch it live. We wanted the recap up.
No, I didn't want. I actually it was later than I thought. I wouldn't have. If I had been the recap writer, it wouldn't have gone up until this morning because I didn't watch it until almost midnight last night. I
want to know what your grade is, Sean.
All right, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm so ready, baby.
All right, it was not as good as Brooklyn, but
beautiful. Well done.
What did I give Brooklyn?
A.
I give it an A. Yeah, I would have stick with that. It was not. I did not enjoy it as much as Brooklyn, but I think it would have kept the streak alive. I believe I would have given it an A-.
Really, I actually agreed with Walsh. That was B+ show.
I mean, I could see that, but I mean, I think the pressure would be on me to keep the streak up, and I did. I liked it a lot. The nits that I picked were small with it, really. And a lot of the stuff that I didn't like about it falls more in the realm of fantasy booking and not critical analysis, I think. There were a couple of matches that didn't go the way I wanted them to, including the main event where I was just in full mark mode and mad. So, but I still thought, we'll talk about each of the individual things, but I think I would have gone A-. I would not have given it an A, but I think I would have gone A-.
Yeah, the people were mad at you at Brooklyn. You didn't give it an A+. Now we know our evolution is my A+ level. You got to be that good in my completely subjective rankings to get an A+. And that's probably, like I said, that's probably my favorite show of the last 5 years. So there you have it. So let's match by match this son of a bitch.
All right, let's do it.
30 minutes in and quite a roller coaster ride we've been on.
Jesus Christ. Yes.
Please don't lose your shit again or your connection.
I reset everything. I rebooted my computer. The only thing that I can think is I'm using my work computer because you like the sound better when I use this one.
You sound
and
better.
That's different from at home. I usually use a different laptop. So
yeah, you sound better.
All right. Well, I'm going to try to make this one work, but I rebooted everything: router, wireless, everything. So
I appreciate you so much more for dealing with MediaCom because it's horrifying when it's just you and a bunch of people want to hear what you have to say. And
well, at least you knew I was gone.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm just going to drop out on you, so you don't even know I'm gone, and see how you handle that. That's the fun. That's when the fun happens. That's when the magic happens. You'll
get a text 20 seconds later that says you're fired. So let's start at the top of the show with this. I think this was the best match of the show. Asuka versus Emma was probably the best match of the show. And remember when it was announced, we said that's going to be the best match.
Yeah.
Asuka is as close to Brock Lesnar as I think we have for anybody on the entire roster of NXT or WWE. In that, feels different when she's out there. Her character, the way she is, her mannerisms, everything she does. I mean, they're trying to use her in a way that's similar to everybody else, and she's doing the selling and whatnot. But it's so different. She's different. You know what I mean? She stands out just by her physical charisma, how she comes across, how she brings herself across. I thought it was so fucking cool that she's like screaming as Emma is, putting the boots to her. And Saxton is like, I don't know if she's enraged or in pain. And I was like, that's fucking great because I agree. It's like she's trying to get herself back into the match.
It was like her Hulk up thing, but it's the coolest Hulk up ever.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's not adjusting your ponytail. It's just screaming like you might murder everyone in the room.
Yeah. And if you're an opponent, how do you deal with that? This woman is terrifying. But I thought it was a really good match. And my God, can Dana Brooke be ringside for every match? Just do her thing. She's wonderful. That was really fucking good. How much
the anti-Brie Bella?
Yes. She's gotten so much better, Sean.
Yeah, she has. She is. I still think Dana Brooke, and I mean, there's a few of them, but Dana Brooke is definitely. I think she's the poster child for this is developmental. That's how it's supposed to work. We're supposed to be. That's part of the fun of NXT is watching somebody get it like that. Yeah, I don't know if this was my match of the night. I was thrown. I also commented on Twitter. The first two matches, I was thrown by the level of booking that went into their finish of both of them, which is not a bad thing. I hesitate to use the term overbooking because I don't mean it as a negative, but it was un NXT like. Usually, especially on takeovers, we get mostly like clean finishes, and it's different from the main roster because of that. But this one had a ref bump, a foreign object, the foreign object disqualification fake out for the babyface, followed by a run in by Dana and her getting tossed by the ref. The foreign object came back, and then that backfired so that the heel lost anyway.
Distraction, too.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot one. So I don't know that it needed all of that. And again, fantasy booking instead of being critical. Once you do all that, I would have put Emma over. I think Asuka would have been plenty protected if she got beat by any of those things or any combination of them. It looks like the feud's going to continue anyway, based on the backstage stuff, maybe. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I liked it a lot. I don't think it was probably it's right. There are 3 matches on the card that are right there for match of the night with me, like just off by a little bit, and this was one of those 3. So,
see, and I disagree with you because I really liked that they did all that because it made sense for the story. I mean, this is she'd killed Dana already. She did the thing with Emma already, and then she's like I said, she's booked a bit like Brock Lesnar. She's damn near unstoppable. So you pull out all the stops, and so you got heels in there, and they cheated. I don't see.
I don't necessarily dislike it. It stuck out to me because it's not what we usually get from NXT. So it's not a criticism. It's more of just an observation. And then the problem that I had with it, like I said, which is mostly just me being a big Emma mark, and this doesn't go with how I wanted the fantasy book the next couple months, is once you do all that shit, I'd put Emma over. But
See, and I like that they're not doing that because I feel like it maintains, Asuka's got that. Lesnar wouldn't be Lesnar if he was just doing jobs. So I like that I thought it was really cool that they
screwed out of some wins every once in a while. I mean, he's definitely been screwed over and still stood tall. I mean, she could have gotten.
That's different than doing a job.
Oh, I'm not. Well, she could have lost and then laid everybody out and then knocked them both out cold at the end. I mean, there's ways to do it. They chose not to. I suppose,
but I like this better because it's they tried to do the distraction. I thought it was cool, and Dana gets thrown out. Emma went for the roll up, and at London thought that was the finish. So did I.
That's where she went for. She got her belt back or whatever too. The chain thing.
Yeah. And then just kicks her in the head and gets pinned. That's great. It's a babyface who's like not dumb and or just overcomes it anyway, which is just really good to see. Yeah. So I really like this. And Emma, when you strip it all away and all the bullshit and she's still talking about the Divas Revolution, and it's kind of funny because the main roster stopped talking about that like 2 months ago. But she's still using it in promos.
Yeah, well, I mean that's a heel thing, and she's also talking about the fact, and they bring it up on commentary too, that she was in the finals for the first women's title, and then she sort of got turned into a joke. So,
but strip it all away.
It makes sense as her motivation.
She's a fantastic wrestler.
Yep,
she's really good. So yeah, this worked really well. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, great opener. Yeah, I agree. I think it was definitely the right choice for opener too.
It also didn't try to be more than what it was supposed to be, which was the opening match of a good show.
True.
Right? Like they didn't try too hard to be a main event, level match. The kind of thing where later we'll go, oh, it's match of the year. We'll forget about it in a month. But then we'll look back and go, man, that was a really good match. Or you can watch it again and be like, man, I forgot how great this was. So it wasn't, something that stood out too much, and it's not supposed to. It's the first match on the show.
Yep.
So that's even better.
I mean, it stands out because Asuka's wearing a giraffe G-string over some rainbow tights, but other than that,
I mean, that's you. That's you.
It's a weird look. I mean, it's part of her genius, but it's a weird look. That's all.
I think Emma's dating Zack Ryder.
Really?
I saw some tweets, and then he posted a picture on Instagram.
That's my man.
She posted something, and he put, "What a babe." And I was like, oh geez. And then Twitter got to going wild. Are they an item? Ooh. And then I just went down the rabbit hole because it was like 1 at night and fucking
it's fun too. Yeah,
bored and there's nothing. So I think they're dating, so that's kind of weird. Hope she can deal with Mojo Rawley.
Well, Zach doesn't like to hang out with him outside of the business, so
you're on a first name basis. He's your buddy.
Yep, me and Ryder.
The tag team title match was next, I believe.
It was.
Dash and Dawson, who I had to stop myself from calling him Dash and Wilder. I don't know why. Against Enzo and Big Cass. What'd you think of this
one? This was okay. I'm a big Dash and Dawson fan. I was a big Brainbusters fan, so they're very much of a piece with that sort of Minnesota Wrecking Crew kind of a style that I dig a lot. They are purebred heels, which I like, and props to London here too, because one thing that they did that I loved was that they fucking cheered the faces and booed the heels. So that's a problem I had with Full Sail. So definitely shout out to them there, since I've given them shit on other stuff. I think we saw in this match kind of why the belts have never been put on Enzo and Cass. I think for all their time together, they're just not as good as the other tag teams in the division. When there were some of their spots, you can see them sort of thinking their way through them. I mean, Dash and Dawson are just a fucking machine. It's seamless. Their psychology is on point. I enjoy them, and them versus, and it's the right call here because we're gonna do them versus Gable and Jordan. I don't think that's a spoiler for anybody. I mean, those guys are fucking over, and there's already been tension set up between the teams, so that's gonna be the next feud for the belt. So yeah, it made sense. It was a lot of booking again at the end. I don't think it ruined it or anything. I wasn't even not a fan, but there was a lot of it. And I think it was, the right call. Decent match. I mean, yeah.
Dash and Dawson are... I'm over it.
You were over it when they came out. You never liked them.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, it's the kind of thing. They're the Usos to me, where they're like, oh, the Usos are kind of actively annoying, but so they're not actively annoying so much as I don't notice them. I don't care. They both look the same, even though they look entirely different somehow. That's a fucking feat that they've pulled off. Although not vaguely homeless.
True. They definitely have a home.
I saw someone in the thread said slightly homeless.
That's even better.
That's great. I like to think of it like you're missing just part of your home. So I'm slightly homeless right now. So I just don't really see it. And I said on Twitter, Enzo and Big Cass are a main roster tag team act. And I think people misunderstood what I meant when I said that. What I meant was, you're right. They're not great wrestlers. They don't really have what I guess you would need to have one of those. I guess you think of it, NXT almost like an indie now, where it's like great, work rate kind of matches. Oh God, I said work rate.
Baron Corbin's gonna fuck your shit up for saying
I know, right? He's gonna send me back to Ring of Honor. I just think it's, they have everything you need to get over as fuck on the main roster without having the good wrestling matches, but that's okay because on Raw they're not going to ask you to have good wrestling matches.
Right.
They're just going to ask you to give them 4 minutes and go home. So I was surprised I didn't get the belts, but I shouldn't have been because you're right. I mean, the division's kind of set up, and we're all ready, willing, and Gable, and all that bullshit. So yeah, I think it was a fun match though.
I agree with you completely too. I mean, I'm surprised. I am more surprised that Enzo and Cass haven't been called up than I am that they haven't gotten the titles.
It's time.
I mean, it's past time. I think they were ready, and they're Jesus. You want a team that will get cheered while New Day gets booed? It's these fucking guys.
It'd be an interesting little back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would like to see the Enzo Xavier promo battles. That would be something. I can't disagree with you more on Dash and Dawson.
If I had a dime for every time I wore a dick on my head, I'd have 0 dimes.
0 dimes.
And he'd get over with that line because I can't think of a PG way he could say that it's a dick on the head. So he'd actually acknowledge.
He'd probably come up with something clever. He's pretty good. Smack Talker Skywalker. I think he can do it.
Yeah.
I don't mean that as a knock on them. They're better than the fucking DX than Road Dogg and Billy Gunn ever were, but they're of that type.
Yeah, that's who they are. Yeah, and those guys got way over.
They're character first and wrestlers second. So.
I tweeted too. I said, I like to think they came up with their offense after a night of heavy drinking. And we're like, wrestling? Nah, bro. Just throw me at people. And we're going to fucking kill everybody. And they do, and it works. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I thought it was good.
Even when you're wrestling in some sort of pleather overalls, you can still do that.
He is the most ridiculous-looking human being I've ever seen.
Yep.
He really is.
And he actively plays it up. Yeah.
He's wonderful.
Yep.
Great false finish at the end.
Yes, it was.
Thought for sure that was the change, and then he pulled him out, and it was like, oh, you fucker. And you knew it wasn't going to happen. And I'm surprised at a lot of the results on this show. Everything went, I guess, the way it probably should, but I expected a title change or some sort of a surprising. I guess I'm surprised by the entire show not being surprising, I suppose.
Yeah,
we like this match, right?
Yeah, we like this match. Yeah, it's probably this is one of the 2 matches that isn't in contention for match of the night for me, though.
Baron Corbin versus Apollo Crews. Now I hear Baron Corbin. I was going off on this on Twitter, and my notes are what I tweeted, so I'm sorry if I repeat a lot of that shit. Baron Corbin, the name reminds me of Final Fantasy Tactics. You ever play that?
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite game. I mean, that and the Metal Gear Solid series, those are my jam. I mean, they really are. Final Fantasy Tactics is a fucking brilliant game. The story is wonderful, but the names of the people are wonderful. And I always think of that fucking show or that game while I was watching this show. And I kept thinking of the roof of Ryvane's castle. Just the most difficult fucking battle in the history of the world. The most annoying fucking thing. And I thought, you know what? He got over with me tonight. Just for that. So there you go.
Just because he made an association in your mind.
Just because I think of tactics when I think of Baron Corbin. And also because I don't know if this was like a conscious decision to have him like heel in a very traditional, just talk shit way, right? Like, you know, beat him down and run your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Do the hope spot and squash it and beat him down, run your mouth, hope spot, finish. But I really liked it. I thought he was wonderful.
I think he's another example of this is developmental because he's gone through some. You know, they've tried some shit with him that didn't work. There was a point, you know, I think earlier this year still, we were all talking about how he couldn't be trusted to work a 5-minute match. And then he had that match with Samoa Joe in Brooklyn, and it's been different since then. And I understand. I was a little bit, this is probably the result that I was most surprised by because Cruz came into this with an undefeated streak gimmick going, and that's gone. He lost clean.
They realized there's nothing to him.
I don't think there's nothing to him. I think they just need more work. You're gonna get buried for that.
I saw you just.
Well, you're gonna get killed.
There's nothing to him.
People love him. I agree. I mean, I don't think there's nothing to him, but I think there's a lot of work to be done before he's a main. He's another one. They came in and people were like, "That's your next main eventer on Raw," and I'm like, "Not this." He's just
the most vanilla fucking character in the history of the world. He's smiling. He's a happy guy, and he's here and he's wrestling and cool, man. That's it. That is fucking it. There's nothing interesting about that.
It seems like for NXT, that's as much as we love their writing, that's their generic babyface character, and it's up to the performer to turn it into something else. And if you're not Sami Zayn or Bayley, you're just a vanilla fucking babyface. They don't give you anything.
Yeah, Zayn and Bayley work as underdogs. People, you feel like they're not going to win or they can't win because they have some sort of perceived shortcoming that really isn't necessarily a shortcoming, but it's like you can buy into that. You don't get that with Cruz.
No, I mean that's what
he fucking wreck everyone on the roster, and he doesn't.
I've argued in the it's a stereotypical quick fix for anybody to say that we should turn him heel. But even when he tries to cut his babyface promos, he's got a heel edge to them because he's sort of like, I'm better than everybody. And I don't know. He reminds me, I've said it before a ton of times. He reminds me of like a high school bully who like pretends he's being nice to you, but he's really trying to intimidate you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's hard to say like, his behind the scenes videos worked a lot better than Balor's did because his story is a lot more compelling with, his dad is an African guy that like left the family and his mom's a single mom who had to bring them up and, nobody wanted him to wrestle. It's a more interesting story. So that sold him better to me than they did when they tried to do the same thing with Finn, but they don't call back to it at all. Really. They're just like, oh, here he comes. And he's got this, fucking generic thing. People love his theme song. And it just annoys me.
Yeah, I think, and at some point too, you have to understand who you're dealing with as far as like how they come across physically. And I'm sorry, but I can't. It's hard to be an underdog when you're built like a brick shithouse. Like, dude, you look like you could run through a wall, and the wall would be worse off at the end of that collision. Like, you know what I mean? And you want me to like? I just don't. And not even underdogness. It's just they haven't even established that really. He's just a dude who goes out and wrestles matches.
He smiles.
And he's, he does some cool stuff. And even that, he's toned down doing the cool stuff, the flippy shit.
For me, one of my biggest problems, even maybe more than the character stuff, my concern with him is that his matches always feel to me like he's stringing moves together. Mm-hmm. He sells a beatdown okay, but I just like the comebacks don't flow. They just come out of nowhere. This was a problem I had with this match is that a lot of this stuff just felt like, even the end, I felt like it just happened. it didn't transition to it. It's just, okay, now we're going to do this spot. Now, okay, the comeback's going to fail. Okay, now we're doing this one. Yeah, I mean, I think Corbin's developed a better character. I love the fuck indies stuff. I mean, screaming at him to go back to Ring of Honor when he was never in Ring of Honor. I love it.
So good.
Yeah, so I think he's the better character. He's going to make a better, maybe they pull the trigger and take the belt off of Finn with him. I don't know. He's come a long way. I still don't think he's there either, though. And he works. You could see the difference between a match where he gets to work with somebody like Samoa Joe versus this one where he's working with another guy who's still trying to figure a bunch of shit out. It's just not. It's night and day. So I was a little bit surprised by the outcome here because they have been, even in the previews on WWE.com, they were hyping up that Cruz had never lost in WWE. So they got rid of that problem.
Viden's called him Banter Corbin.
Banter
Corbin with the Ring of Honor thing and the go back to Ring of Honor because Banter Corbin couldn't be fucked to learn what.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit.
He thinks Ring of Honor. He hears indie and thinks Ring of Honor, and that's it. There's no other indie. It's all Ring of Honor.
That's the only one he ever heard of, right?
Yeah, it's not even. He thinks Ring of Honor just replaces indie. That's what his idea of indie is.
He doesn't
that's
know.
Awesome.
He's just tired of hearing it. I even like the way I like his walkout where he sort of soaks in the booze, and then the last thing he does is like, "Go fuck yourself," and then he turns and walks out. Ever since he turned heel, I am in with that dude, and I don't know if it is or not. Do you watch Breaking Ground?
No.
He is a dick on that show. I don't know how much. I don't know how much of that is like Total Divas, like scripted reality. But man, he is just, and that's the way he is. He's like, I don't have time for any of this nonsense. He doesn't hang out with people. Like people, there's always scenes like Mojo comes up to him and tries to make a joke, and he fucking no sells it and says something horrible and walks away. So that may just be this dude's personality, but I like it.
Breaking Ground it has the potential to be cool. It's less Hard Knocks and more Total Divas.
Yeah, that's my problem with it. I went into it hoping it was going to be like just a real behind-the-scenes look at how you get over in WWE and become a wrestler, and it's not. It's
gimmick to the gills, man.
Yeah, it's all storyline. But I still like it because I don't know. Maybe someday I'll try to match Handstock's greatness with the Total Divas recaps and try to do that with Breaking Ground.
The match, Corbin went over with the End of Days, which is a terrible finish. And
it can be good, but it wasn't good here. The End of Days out of nowhere is not a good look. It doesn't look like
the End of Days on Chad Gable's good, but that's a Gable thing. I don't know. But the match itself was just kind of there was some cool stuff. Mainly Corbin's healing. Otherwise, this is entirely forgettable.
Yep.
Good, but whatever.
I would say this is the one match that I would not accept as match of the night from anybody. Even the tag match, if that's your thing, I can understand it, but this one just wasn't. This was the low point of the night, pretty clearly, I think.
And then it was time for Bayley versus
Nia Jax.
And we had planned on a big Bayley debate, and we wasted so much time on the crowd bullshit.
Yeah.
Which, we've worked ourselves into it. We've shot ourselves into a work, apparently, because we bought right into it. Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was thinking when we. Yeah, well, I don't want to start talking about it again. Go ahead.
We gave them all the attention they were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So Bayley versus Nia Jax. Nia Jax. I'll botch it again. I call Ava, and I supposedly love her. I'm a fake fan. Nia Jax. Bayley. This was fucking Hogan Andre, dude.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna try to tell me that this was like the work rate, so to speak, in this match was good, you're full of shit.
It was better work rate than Hogan Andre, but that was still the template they were working.
Barely. Let's be real.
Well, Bayley didn't pick her up and slam her, so
Bayley is a phenomenal babyface.
Mm-hmm.
Bayley is it's unfucking real that there was ever a point that I thought this chick couldn't get over on the main roster. And I even said it, not because of her, because of them. Mm-hmm. I've changed my mind. I don't think it matters what they do.
Yep.
This woman is fucking incredible. As far as her selling is just probably the best in NXT. Maybe the best on the main roster. As far as a babyface who you want to cheer for to get back in it. Her facial expressions, everything she does, naturally want to root for this person. She's got that. It just comes across so well, and she's so good at bringing it across. And she does a Hulk up, like you said, with the headband thing, which is just so stupid, but it works so well that you see that and you're like, it gets you like Hogan was supposed to do. You know, you want him to come back, and then he does the Hulk up, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, here it comes. Same thing with Bayley.
Yep.
Except I'm a grown man. You know, that you do the Hulk up, and I'm a grown man, and I'm going, oh fuck this idiot, someone just shoot him. That's when he needs to be in a match with Dreamer, and he pulls the pistol out, and he's like, what now, Hogan? Keep hulking up, you piece of shit. I hate Hulk Hogan.
and you're not alone these days, so there you go.
I know, right? The most always work with Jesse Holland, and he's such a big Hulk Hogan fan, and he always had his supporters. Such a glorious day when Hogan outed himself as a massive piece of shit, and everyone on earth is against him now. It's like, oh, what's up now, Holland? So if you're listening, fuck you too. No, but Bayley is really wonderful. Took a beating well. It was plodding. I mean, it was slow. It was, you know, I thought it was good for what they were doing, you know, told a good story. But if you want to act like there was good action, you're full of shit. That doesn't mean it wasn't a good match. It was. Nia's getting better. Did well with what she was doing, but, you know, maybe a little too slow. And I liked the finish for what they did, but it's nitpicky, but there are problems with that.
What do you mean?
A guillotine is a very effective maneuver. If you have a guillotine properly applied, you're not going to last as long as
it doesn't go on for 5 minutes. Yeah.
This is not how this works. So it's one of those things where you're like, okay, I can be the explainer guy, or I can be the just go ahead and let yourself get lost in it and don't worry about that kind of detail guy. And you have to do that to have that enjoyment with it, you know. Well, plus it was kind of funny because, you know, she puts on the first guillotine, and how'd she get out of it? She just threw her down.
Right.
So she puts on the second guillotine. How'd she get out of it? She just threw her down. So if it's that easy to get out of the fucking move, why are you in it at all?
I thought they did, and by they I mean Bayley here. And maybe I'm giving her too much credit. I only watched it once, and I was tired as fuck. But it looked to me like the guillotine that finally got her to tap, she had it cinched in a way that she connected. She was able to grab her other arm, and in the first couple, she wasn't. It was like she had the underneath. I don't know the proper terminology, but she had her one arm up under her neck, but she didn't have something else to give it any torque. And then on the final one, she finally did.
I'll go full explainer guy, I guess.
All right.
On MMA, there's an arm-in guillotine, and then a guillotine without the arm-in. The arm-in is the person you're giving it to. Their arm is trapped in between what you're doing, but you still get enough there. Anyway, that is the one that you would have to do to take the time because you wouldn't be able to lock it in all the way.
Right.
If the arm's not in, you're just cranking their fucking neck.
Right.
You're gonna put them to sleep. You're gonna hurt somebody. I'll give credit there, I guess, because the first two weren't all that whatever, and then the last one, she was on her ass, and Bayley was on her neck and yanking her back, so it looked really impressive. And then but even then, I felt like she waited too long to tap. The crowd was with it. They were hot. They were getting louder. They were anticipating the tap, and then they died off. And then, like a minute later, she tapped. Which I felt like you got to take advantage of how hot the crowd is and get them to get to that finish.
One thing I think that the tap says to me is that, to go back to when we talked about the Eva match, I think that somebody probably told Bayley to kick out conclusively at 2, because there's no, if you're building, well, yeah, like definitively, I don't know
definitively, not conclusively.
There was a conclusion as a result of it. It was vaguely conclusive.
Vaguely almost.
Because to me, I thought for sure that she was going to pass her, that she was going to pass out, that they were going to do that. This is the monster, and she slayed it. But to have her tap is surprising to me. That's her first loss, and it's a submission loss. And but I just, Bayley is getting the Hogan Cena booking in a way we have never seen before in NXT.
It's working too.
It is, and that's as is usually the case. They pick their spots and they do something, and they pick the right spot for it. But yeah, I mean, I think within the construct of WWE wrestling, I mean, they pick and choose when MMA moves matter, and so it didn't surprise me. The outcome didn't surprise me. I thought we might get a DQ. I thought they were going to try to protect Nia here, and they didn't. So
where was Eva?
Eva that's the most, like, if Eva's in town, she's going to come out and stand there. But I don't think that's something that they're committed to.
She said on Twitter, I'll be watching this with.
I think it's just to keep the connection, so that if she's around for a taping, she'll show up with her. But obviously, it's not something they're committed to enough to fly her to London for this.
I think it's kind of silly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's Eva and NXT in general. They'll use her when they can, but it's not. They're not really trying to get her over.
But I thought the match was really good, and I thought Bayley was fucking miracle worker for being able to get good matches out of both Eva Marie and Nia Jax. Even if it's, the work's not there, the story was really good. I said Hogan Andre wasn't any good either, but it was the match, the work rate stuff. Again, I keep saying that, and I hate myself for it, but it's about telling a story. They told the story.
Exactly. I mean, this thing, and on the Bayley argument thing that we teased, we don't really have an argument because we basically agree now. But I do think, I mean, when we first had that discussion, I was completely with you that, yes, WWE creative could fuck her up. I'm less sure of it, but then I think, well, they have fucked up Sasha Banks so bad I can't even deal with it. So could they fuck it up? Yes, it's still possible, but it's hard. I
just think she'll get over no matter what they do.
As long as they don't make her do something stupid. As long as they just let her go out there, but they have a tendency to always make the women. I mean, if she is Heath Slater's valet, then
I would laugh my fucking ass off if she turned heel. If they turned her heel.
Well, if she gets, I mean, they're probably going to make her catty and jealous or something. I mean, we'll see. I mean, so far Becky's been immune to that, but she's the only one.
Well, when they're not catty and jealous, people bitch and complain, call them dumb, act like there's no story going on. They, this is so stupid. What a stupid show.
Burying her.
Why don't you pay attention to what the fuck's happening then? If it was an NXT, you'd think it's the greatest thing on earth, which is also funny to me because if they did Bayley versus Nia Jax on the main roster, they'd get laughed out of the building. So this is part of your own bullshit. That's why I say the TLC versus TakeOver, they're like, oh, not even kind of true. I'd like to get to a point where we're not comparing the two, but if we are, take anything that happened on TakeOver, put it on the main roster, then tell me how great it was. Asuka Emma holds up. Everything else is so forgettable, it's unreal. It's just a different fucking ball game, dude.
Exactly. I don't know that you can. I mean, we're never going to not compare them because that's what we do. It's like the nitpicking stuff. It's why we're all on. The internet wouldn't exist if we didn't compare shit that shouldn't be compared. But, yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, you can't. This match is the product of a year's worth of booking of Bayley, and you can't just plop it. You can't just pick it up and plop it somewhere else and say, here it is. Even Asuka Emma would suffer. I mean, I think a lot of the main roster audience might go, what the fuck is this? Why?
No, with the booking the way it was and the characters involved, that holds up totally, I think. 100%.
I don't know if they'd be invested in it, though.
Well, I mean, if it was all, well, I don't know.
I mean, I think Bayley could sell. I mean, I think if you just plopped, you look at Bayley and Nia, that's a monster versus an underdog. Bayley is very clearly using Wrestling 101. I mean, she does it great, but it's not rocket science. She's doing babyface comeback shit. I think people would get that too, but I don't know that they'd ever give it a chance.
Yeah, NXT's built up such goodwill that you tend to forgive stuff that you wouldn't forgive WWE for. Or you just kind of tend to enjoy things that a lot of times in WWE they try to do it and you're like, no, I don't want this.
I mean, I think people would assume with both of those matches that you were going to get something else. I think we would assume that we'd get a distraction finish in Asuka Emma. I mean, like I said, they're apples and oranges. I don't think you can just compare them. But I do think both of those matches, both of the women's matches more than anything else on the card, are probably the ones that told a universal story that you could figure out even if you didn't have any context. You could just look at the performers and figure out what they were doing.
Did you see that they actually advanced the Becky Charlotte thing? Before SmackDown, Brie talked shit on Twitter to Becky saying, hey, are you going to hell of a way to win a match, cheating and shit or whatever. And Becky was like, I'm not happy with how that went down, but Rick gonna Rick, Flair gonna Flair. Basically, that's how he is. So whatever. But if you wanna get in there and me and you can settle this up, we can do that. And I was like, that's a fucking awesome thing to say. That was wonderful. So again, I really don't want to hear any of you motherfuckers running your mouth about that story, because to me, it's the clearest indication that the main roster, sometimes they can't please you. Again, if they did it in NXT, you'd act like it was the greatest fucking thing on earth. So Bayley versus Nia Jax, good match. Not the greatest thing on earth. Not the fucking, you know what I mean? You tend to overstate how great stuff is. And there's a brewing resentment that I can see on our Twitter. And it's, we're 16,000 followers now, so we're getting, more and more people talking to us. There's a growing resentment towards the absolute adoration, the affection, the undying love that everyone has for NXT. And they can't go wrong. They can do no wrong. Like you said, you criticize one thing and they fucking bomb you because they love it. And it's like, can we not act like Bayley Nia Jax is one of the greatest matches of all time? Like,
well, and I'll say we skipped it, but it irks me. This is something I got fucking flamed for when I criticized it at Brooklyn, but it's the Triple H Open with the it's first of all, it's all about him. I mean,
hated this.
God bless him. He tied it into Sunday, but barely.
Nope, fuck him. That's the problem. Keep going.
I don't like it. I mean, I think it brings up the worst tendencies about Triple H that I think, especially this fan base has, is that he wants to make shit about him. And two, which, it's his baby and it's his right, but especially once Brooklyn is one thing. Now it's a thing that we do whenever they're on the road, is he gets a big fucking open. And two, they're running the risk of, overplaying their hand. Like they've done a really amazing fucking job of creating this, even though it's WWE and it's the same money and the same players, people think, oh, this is different and this is my thing, and that's not. But the more that they pushed that, and they're trying to get the We Are NXT thing over. Sammy did it in his promo. The more that they push that, the more they're going to get pushed back, and they're going to run the risk of fandangoing it, where they're telling us it's cool, and we don't want to be told it's cool. We want to think it's cool on our own.
This is your brand.
Yep.
As opposed to WWE's not our brand?
Right. So you're not getting paid for it?
Here's why I hated this.
Okay.
Triple H should be two distinct characters. He's a character in WWE, COO, The Authority. And he's a different character in NXT. Babyface, Overlord that everyone loves. The boss, the big boss man. Instead, because then he could just come out and nothing did happen to him. Because it's not the same guy. It's a character. And I think that goes with the problem of a lot of people, even here in the year of our Lord 2015, people still have this weird want for these characters to sell injuries in airports. These fucking goofy weirdos who think the gimmick should continue when they're not on TV. It's a television show with characters who are only those characters when they're on TV or when they decide to do that on social media. Now, I like when they do it on social media. And, you can go into and out of character and it can be fun. Just know what you're doing. I think you're two separate characters. You didn't just get beat up on Sunday because that's not the character. You're this character. This character, totally acceptable for you to be here, totally acceptable for you to bring the show in. He has earned the goodwill and people think he's the greatest fucking thing on earth. That's another thing about the NXT, what that's done. NXT is so beloved. People think Triple H is just a god among men and not an egotistical son of a bitch who's probably going to torpedo the whole shit at some point. Let's be real. And he's already doing it with little stuff like this. But I mean,
it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. He could be both. He could be a fucking genius that pulled this thing off and be an egotistical bastard that's probably going to tank it at some point. They're not exclusive ideas.
Yeah, it's Vince.
Yeah.
He's another version of Vince, people. Yep. People like him get to where they are because of how they are, but part of that is that he is the guy who wants the credit. I get that. I would hate it if if Cageside was, it was nothing when I got it. When they gave it to me, you're the boss, you run the show. So that it's success and failure comes down on your head. You're the quarterback. There will be a lot of moving parts that will be needed to be successful, but they will be there because of you. So it's not all you, it's the team, and a lot of it's you, and it's Handstock, and it's Notorious Eddie Mack, it's Kyle Decker, it's Tanya Rogers, it's all these people. I'm sorry if anybody has skipped Canaanite. I don't want to skip anybody.
And there's been a lot of people along the way who aren't with us anymore who were part of it too. So yeah, you're not going to get everybody, but yeah, I get you.
And I would hate it if they're talking about how great Cageside Seats is and they gave me no credit. It'd be like, well, I mean, I'm the dude who's been presiding over it. That would bug me a little bit, but it's not like, make sure I'm front and center at all times.
Right.
Because it's the site. It's not about me. It's the site. Cageside's what got over, not Geno Morosco. So it made it even worse when he acknowledged the beating he took. Motherfucker, they took you out on an ambulance and acted like you were coughing up blood. He's got internal bleeding. Does he have a pulse? We don't know if he's going to make it to tomorrow. He's not blinking. He might go into a coma at any point. Oh, I saw his toe move. At least he's got feeling in his toes. Like, just a vicious beating. Couldn't appear on Raw. Right?
Yep. His wife had to go home and tend to him, but he could get on a plane a day later.
This motherfucker wasn't selling at all. I've never seen someone recover so fast. I had to fucking blink my eyes a couple times. Had to clean my glasses. Go, is that John Cena in there? I don't get it. What the fucking what? You just got him over. You just got the guy over by beating the shit out of you.
But that's not on our brand, Gino. That's on their brand. This is our brand.
What a stupid.
This is our promotion. Yeah, I hated it when he did it in Brooklyn, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're just," and I've got the same shit. "Oh, you're just being a grumpy old man. He built this. He deserves the credit, and it was a great moment live. And stop shitting on it." And whatever, fine. You loved it. You love it. Go worship it, the cock of Triple H. But I don't see it.
You know what? I'm glad Walsh gave this show a B+. Fuck you, Marks. No, because it really is, and I'm part of the growing resentment of it, because it's like, calm down with this shit. Like, it's good, but like, let's not act like it's the fucking.
Well, and that's a fucking double-edged sword too, because me and some other folks, shout out to my boy Teammate Burner, who I know probably isn't listening to this because he's mad we're not on iTunes still, but
eventually.
There are a bunch of us who have been with NXT since day one who feel like it is our brand and we don't feel like it's as good as it used to be and some things like that. And then we get shit because, oh, well, you can't compare it to the past and all this other stuff. And you can't win.
You liked NXT before liking NXT was cool.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, and these are all human reactions. The backlash to people saying NXT can do no wrong is human. The feeling like it's not my thing anymore because that's that hipster thing. That's real. I mean, that's fine, but you got to acknowledge that shit and not act like, other people are wrong and your shit doesn't stink and every other fucking thing. I mean, you can be like we were talking about on Monday and Tuesday. You can enjoy something and still be critical of it, and it's not the end of the goddamn world.
Main event.
Yep.
Finn Balor.
Mm-hmm.
Finn the Ripper.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a problem with this?
It's weird to me that whenever
weird.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're gonna get in trouble for this too. But yes, the man fucking tortured and mutilated women. He's not my hero. It's not cool. It's not.
And we're cheering him. And the demon character. Weird. Let's just also admit, what a stupid thing. So this man is Finn Balor. He's a man and he's a good dude. He speaks well. He's quiet. He's reserved.
Rides bicycles. Plays Legos.
Good in the ring. He plays with Legos.
Mm-hmm.
And then he becomes the demon.
Mm-hmm.
And you're supposed to fear him.
Mm-hmm. Undefeated as the demon.
But his offense is exactly the same. Literally nothing changes. He just has paint on.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the baby faces are the heels, and they're still heels when he's the demon, which doesn't make much sense. Oh my God, no! I might get paint in my eyes when he starts sweating. That's literally the only difference between Finn Balor and Demon Finn. Is he's got paint on. There's no other difference. There's literally nothing else that he does that's different. Not a fucking thing. He just looks kind of different, and then the paint wears off, and then it's just the same guy. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in the history of the world.
I will give it a little bit.
Don't defend it to me.
I will defend it a little bit, and just because, and I am the head of the I don't get Finn Balor bandwagon and have been for a long time.
I've got
but
there.
He does act differently. He does. I mean, I don't know that it's effective. It's not an actual character, but he does like stare and growl and do other. I mean, he plays a different. He tweaks his presentation enough when he puts the paint on that I understand that. My problem is, and has always been, well, first of all, is that the fact that the entrance is over has become a shortcut for them. They don't need to do anything else with him. So he's just he doesn't have a character. I'm sorry, he doesn't. Playing with Legos and loving wrestling isn't a fucking character. Those are character traits. I don't even know what. It's just because the entrance is over, they don't do anything, but they. And people love to fantasy book this. They love to connect the dots behind the scene. Oh, well, when he channels the demon, it takes something out of him, so he can't do it all the time. That's not presented anywhere. He's going to be on next week or whenever, and we're not going to see that he lost a pound of flesh. There's no reason. He doesn't lose when he's the demon, and when he isn't the demon, he gets choked the fuck out a lot by a big Samoan bastard who I love a lot. So anyway, see, that's my problem. I'm going to mark out about Samoa Joe a lot when we talk about this match, but.
It's a spoiler.
Samoa. No, don't. What are we spoiling now? Are we spoiling the show that aired yesterday now?
No. I'm saying when Finn is the demon, it's a spoiler.
Oh, exactly.
He's going to fucking win.
Right.
What a stupid character.
This was, and that's they took Cruz out, and this would have been a good opportunity to take that monkey off their back and say, okay, he can lose when he's the demon, but they didn't.
Or just the Apollo. If Apollo's the actually nice guy who doesn't have a demon alter ego, to go up to fucking Finn Balor and go, hey man, what's with this demon shit? Do you need to go see a doctor?
Did you actually kill that woman in your entrance video, or was that just a thing?
What the fuck's the matter with you? Did you just turn into fucking Finn the Ripper? Are there women backstage that I need to go check on? What in the fucking world?
And on the indies and whatnot, when he would dress up like the fucking Joker or Hannibal Lecter, he was a heel at least.
Yeah, you can't. Again, and it's fine, whatever. And yes, there's a point where you go, okay, it looks cool. And when I originally tweeted it, I didn't tweet anything about Jack the Ripper. My original tweet was, it's a demon with a coat and a hat on. What a time to be alive. And it got a ton of fucking. Whose call was that of that football college game? What a time to be alive. I have no idea. I just think it's the greatest thing in the world. But
you love that one.
I really do. But I just whatever. And it's like, yeah, people are like, no, he's doing Jack the Ripper. I understand what he's doing, guys. I get that part. But I'm trying not to pay attention to it because again, it makes no fucking sense. It makes no sense to cheer for a demon. Yeah. Like I guess in some ways you
cheer for a dead man.
You cheer for what the demon's doing. That's stupid too, Sean. We understand.
I agree. I don't get it. It's not. Yeah, it doesn't even. And I'll be, like I said, you got to consider the universe and kayfabe and all that stuff. And I'll argue that forever. But this doesn't even make sense. Everybody always says, well, there's a cost to what he does, but they've never done that. And this is a show that's very good about connecting those kind of dots. We have never gotten a scene where somebody comes up to Finn and says, dude, I mean, you were wiped out after that. What happened? And he's like, oh, I channeled the demon, man. We have never gotten that.
You know what would be great? If he was the demon, didn't know it.
Well, that's the other thing that people fantasy book is that this is his dark side and he doesn't know it. And that's the main thing people talk about here.
No, they blew that. They can't do that now.
Well, I know, but that people like, oh, well, he took out Hideo when he was the demon, and that's going to be the big money feud. That's going to be his heel turn when he comes back. And that's not established anywhere.
How great would that have been? Somebody be like, hey, man, like, it seemed, how you doing? Like, you went a little weird there. Like, what are you talking about? I was at home eating pancakes. What? Dude, you just had a match. You beat Samoa Joe, whatever. Like, no, sure didn't. Those blueberry pancakes were really fucking good, actually. And it'd be like, are you fucking... He might be interesting if you did that. And people are going, NXT can do no wrong. Your fucking champion of your brand makes no sense. How's that for doing no wrong? At least Roman Reigns makes sense.
And I feel like
he's got clear character motivations, and we know who the fuck he is. The Finn Balor character, his one thing is that he's a demon for no reason. There's no, you're not established anything. It's just stupid as shit. And he's coming out. You want me to cheer him, and he's dressed like a notorious fucking serial murderer of women. Are you fucking serious right now? And it pops everybody because, you know, let's start a chant. I'm surprised they didn't start chanting for Jack the Ripper, which would have been a total fucking joke. And again, this is why this show wasn't better than TLC. TLC had a much better ending. I'm not supposed to. They didn't ask me to cheer for a dude who murdered women.
Well, and here's the thing, and I said this to somebody. I don't know if it was on Twitter or somewhere else, but this is probably my favorite Finn Balor match since he came to WWE.
The match was really cool.
I like this match, but to me, this was a lot. I was much more into this than I was either of the Owens matches, because he's a perfectly solid wrestler. I got no knocks on it, but I don't care. I don't get invested in his matches. So this one succeeded in that regard for me. But all of the shows, all the takeovers where he's main evented, it's felt like a letdown, really. I mean, because you look at people forget that Bayley Sasha didn't go on last in Brooklyn. I mean, that's like that. I mean, really, you do.
You know
what else? What was the main event of Brooklyn? People will tell you it was Sasha Bayley because nobody fucking remembers that him and Owens went on afterwards. It was a perfectly fine match, but
Kevin Owens was in that match.
Yeah, neither of his I didn't really like the Beast in the East match.
You know who's been burying Balor for a long time? Burying whatever, but you know who's been doing it? Dave Walsh.
Yeah.
The guy we asked to do the recap. You know why? He says, oh, did you see the match? What did he do? Have you seen a Finn Balor match? Yeah, that. It's every Finn Balor match is the same. He does the same shit. It's the same work. And I thought, well, and there was a time back during WrestleMania when he was doing his thing and, he was doing interviews. And then, I watched a match or two and I'm going, man, his charisma is off the charts. He's a very charismatic guy. Physically, he looks great. And I said at the time, I'd call him up, put the belt on him.
Mm-hmm.
It's why I don't run a wrestling company, folks. We'd go out of business in a hurry because he is just terribly boring as champion. I'm sorry he is. They've done nothing interesting with the character, and you can only go so far with physical charisma while being his size. He's not a particularly big dude, and he's just not. You need to have things about you that are more interesting, and there's potential there with the demon stuff. But again, it makes no fucking sense in any way to be how they do it, how they operate with it. And also you're doing the entrance is dope. The cool fucking the entrance music that he does, and he does the thing where he pulls his arms out and everyone in the crowd does it. That should be reserved to just a special thing. It shouldn't be every fucking entrance. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Nothing about Finn Balor makes sense.
Like I said, I'm not as down on him as it sounds like you are right now. But I think, in other promotions where he's gotten over and where I've been a bigger fan of his, they've booked around his deficiencies, and they're not doing it here. They're just and I feel like they sort of know that he's not over as anything but an entrance because he's the most hidden champion in NXT history. Sammy always got promos even if he wasn't on shows. Neville was defending the belt left and right. For most of Finn's run, Bayley has been the face of NXT. Finn is it's flip-flop the way it is on the main roster. The men's title is secondary to the women's title because the big stories go to her. They just don't always main event with her.
I can't even imagine a main roster Finn Balor.
It would probably have to be a heel. It would have to be as part of it would be the way they did New Japan. You wouldn't call it Bullet Club, but he would have to have some people that could talk for him. You have to, like we talked about with Reigns, you have to book around his weaknesses, and they're not doing that right now. They're just letting him go out there. And the fact that people love to do the entrance, which I don't like as much as you do, but whatever. It doesn't do much for me. At this point, it's almost silly, but I'm a grumpy old man. We've established that. I know.
I'm against you because fuck off. That's a really cool thing, dude.
It's fine, but he does it every time. It's not special. Just because sometimes you do it in a face paint doesn't make any sense to me.
I agree with that. I think that's if you're going to do the demon, make the entrance special to the demon, maybe even, or oh, cool, we get to do the entrance this time, or something like that. I just don't think it's, or you're going to do a thing where you build up this goodwill, then you're going to take it away. Like, you know, I just felt like, okay, if I go to a show with Bray Wyatt on it, they're going to cut to the back and he's going to say the name of the city we're in and we're here, and it's going to be awesome because he'll say our city. And then they stopped doing that altogether, and it's like, or they went a couple times not doing it, and then he did it again, and it was like, if I paid for a ticket and went to a show and he didn't do that, I'd be pissed. It's just like when I want to go. There's a house show that's coming to Moline in March, Iowa. I mean, not Moline. I don't live there. I live in Iowa. In March,
you'll make the trip to Moline.
Yeah, I'll make the trip across the river
from Iowa. Yeah,
got to cross the Great Mississippi. And looking at the card with my casual fan friend who's like, we should go to this. Let's get like front row tickets. I'm like, I might be able to get him to comp me some tickets actually, but yeah, like we could probably go to this. He's like, well, who's going to be on the card? And then you figure out, okay, when you're looking at it like that, it's different than just tell stories. It's who's interesting to you live, right? Well, it's like, well, Bray Wyatt will be there. He's like, dude, they'll do the lights thing and we'll get to be a part of that. Hell yeah. So that was a draw for him to want to go to the show. So John Cena, oh, dude, he's great. Everyone fucking loves or hates that dude. That'd be awesome. Make for a good atmosphere. That's a draw for him. Del Rio will be there. Oh, who?
Yeah.
You know, you know what I mean? And on down the line. So the Balor thing has that potential where it's like, if you get to be a part of it, they should make it special to where it's like, oh, we're going to get to be a part of the demon entrance, as opposed to, you know, it's just if you go to a show with Finn Balor on it, you get to do the arms thing. You know what I mean? It just doesn't, you know, it's a way to enhance a character who needs everything. He really needs things to enhance him because there's not much there otherwise. And it's just not. But the match, because we haven't even talked about that. Mm-hmm. What were you going to say? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think you can do it. It's just they have chosen not to, and I don't know why that is. But to me, that says something that they've decided not to. I don't know what it is.
He's 34 years old. I mean, you're running out of time.
And they keep talking about him, the buzz, and I know it's all PR spin, but this PR spin is that he's the face of NXT. He may never get called up. This might be his role, and he claims he's embracing it, that they're doing something different in NXT, and he's worried that he wouldn't get over on the main roster, and you know, maybe this is him. Maybe, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's better than probably toiling, and he's probably making more money and getting more prestige than he was in New Japan because he's selling more merch. But he's in a weird place.
I agree. The match, really, I like the match. As much as, it's every Finn match. You know, they don't do a lot of false. I don't think they did any pinfall attempts. They don't do the false finish gimmick, right?
No, they really didn't. No,
I don't think they did a single one till the finish. Which I like that, and I think Walsh said that's a Finn thing. That's a thing that they like to do. Cat appearance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I really liked it. It was a war of attrition. You know, a real fucking back and forth battle between two dudes wearing each other out, trying to get their big shit in to finish the job, and just couldn't do it.
Yep.
Teased a couple times the sleeper. Which was they got the sleeper over in the past couple weeks leading up to this, which was really good. So then when he got the sleeper on, it was, oh shit, here we go, a new champ. And they did a decent enough job of making me feel like maybe Samoa Joe could win the title because there's not a lot to defend right now, and there's and Joe's doing some of the best work of his fucking career all over again, which has been a long career where he's done a lot of good work, and now here he is, you know, he's found the fire again, and you felt like maybe that could be it, and the ending sequence up on the ropes, going back and forth trying to get all their stuff. Coup de grace is a fucking stupid finish. Especially
when he hits it on your back, which looks worse.
Yeah.
It's not a finisher. But if he lands on your stomach, it is. I don't like it.
It's some M. Bison shit. You know that thing where he jumps on their head and then that's that. Like right he flips them after that though, because just jumping on someone is not a good finish.
Right.
And you, like, dude, you weigh like 38 pounds soaking wet with concrete in your shoes. You're jumping on me, and that's supposed to hurt. Come on, man. Like, of course it does, or whatever, but it's just not. I don't know. I don't like it as a finish. I don't think it works, especially with a guy like Joe. I mean, he's thick. He's got some cushion.
Yeah,
he's all right. So, but
no, I agree. Good. I really enjoyed it. I think they did. They went so hard on the fact that Joe got the advantage in every encounter leading up to this that it flipped the. It's another thing NXT likes to do is like mess with your expectations based on the cliches. So you know the idea that whoever stands tall on the go home show is going to lose at the pay-per-view was sort of flipped because Joe dominated him throughout this. So you were like, oh well, maybe they're just really just saying he's better. I thought, yeah, I mean, the build was great. It's the best. It's the best Finn Balor match I've seen on WWE television. Probably because it's the best build they gave him, and that was for me 99% credit to Joe. I mean, even the I thought his promo in the hype package was fucking phenomenal about how this is a guy that has a part of a demon in him, but I'm 100% a fucking monster.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love Samoa Joe. Just gives me the fucking chills when he's on point, and he has been on motherfucking point like he hasn't been since like 2009 TNA for the last couple months. So
yeah, they did that promo once to start the show, and I think once before the match, and that was a great line. Every time he said it, I'm a monster.
Yep.
And the way he said it, yeah, that was really good.
So yeah, I mean, and they did. I mean, the brutality worked. They did the big man, small man stuff enough. That Finn got over as a babyface, that's the trick with him because you want to present him as a heel because that's the better character, but he's 190 pounds generously, so it's hard to say this is a badass that's going to beat you down. That's why he works as part of a crew. I mean, I really like this match. It was a good finish to the show, and but I don't know what they're. I mean, so now we're going to get Baron Corbin versus Balor, and I imagine that it's going to play out pretty much the same way, and I still don't care. I'm going to be rooting for Corbin, and that makes me a smarky hipster or whatever it is, but Corbin's the one that has a character.
Maybe Corbin will drag some character out of Finn. I'd like to hang out and ride bikes with your demon character. Why don't you turn into the demon and let's go on a motorcycle ride?
Then he wouldn't be the lone wolf if he was hanging out with the demon.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a good main event. At the end of it, it's like right when it's done, you're like, that was a really good show. But it's cool to have this time in between that because then looking back on it, it's like, again, Asuka Emma was awesome. Everything else was good. Not really truly spectacular as far as I remember, like when you're caught up in the glow of a show.
Mm-hmm.
And normally that's how I review things is right after it's done, I'll write about it.
Well, that's the thing for me. I mean, it was really interesting for me to actually watch this without taking notes or trying to do, to just sit. It's the first time in a while that I've just sat back and watched a wrestling show.
And you still gave it an A.
Yeah. Well, and that's something else. That's something else.
You're turned on your own grade.
They don't give you a break. I mean, there's not a lot of filler segments. I mean, they go a little bit heavy on the replay packages, but they're well done. They're the usual WWE excellent video package, and so there's not filler. I mean, there's not. It's just match, and it's easy to get sucked into it.
Yeah, but the main event was good. And I'd like to address, if I could, because I saw this and I want to make sure I get to it, while people are listening.
People are still listening?
Or can listen back to this later, because that's when most of our views come. I saw someone say, I've noticed that Geno grades based on if the main event's good, then he grades on that, and then forgets about everything else. None of the rest of the show matters. And to that I say, shut up. I hate how you make me laugh and I lose my.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Infectious laugh. I don't hate it online. No, but I don't say shut up. I'm kidding with that, but that's not how it works. The main event is the most important part of any show. So if it's good, yes, that means you can overlook a lot of bad things that happened earlier on the show. But if you see me give A grades, it's because I liked something in pretty much every segment. Yeah, maybe it's not, you're not getting fucking 5-star matches up and down the entire Raw show. Okay. And maybe, there's some stuff that it's like, I could have done without this, but I probably found something I liked. And because everything else on the show was good, that's the thing I focused on. And I could ignore, and there was nothing that was like in your face stupid. Like a lot of times WWE does stuff where you just cannot ignore how dumb it is. And that's when the grade is shit. But when everything flows relatively well and there's a couple good matches and there's a really good show-long storyline with a really great main event angle or match and angle, yeah, that's an A show, man. That's how it is for me. So it's not just whatever the main event is, nothing else matters. That's not the case at all. So just don't act like that's the case, please. there's the formula with how I grade with, I guess. That I just, there you go. There's my formula, people. And then people are like, they're doing dissertations on how grades should be given out. They're fucking, well, I feel like, no, I'm not even going to do it.
I mean, we've covered this. I fucking hate grades because I change my own criteria. I don't know. I mean, and we've got to do it so quickly. We can't sit down and watch it again and, think through it critically. We have to fucking, speed is an issue with how we do these things. And, if you watched it in a different mood on a different day, maybe it's a B- instead of a B+. I don't fucking know. It's completely arbitrary. So think about.
It's just important not to think that we all have it all figured out. It's all subjective too.
And like you always say, I mean, we're a fucking fan blog. That's part of why we've gotten over. We don't pretend we're, Dave Meltzer. We're a fan blog. We're writing about this from a fan perspective, and we've got the same biases and, knee-jerk reactions that every other fan does.
We just make those biases clear.
All right. And we like to think our shit doesn't stink because we're fucking awesome. I don't even know what that means, but it sounded good.
I thought that was you going out.
Oh, shit.
Every time, Sean. Now, don't just randomly go out while we're still talking.
I know. People were mad. I thought the little CM Punk burial was good on the last one, but I guess that was stupid.
Yeah, we were like, that ended abruptly. And I felt the same. I was still talking. I was like, the fuck, Sean?
Sorry.
That's not all what I said.
I was trying to keep your feud with Punk alive.
No. We're going to be putting up Slammy Awards ballots over the next couple days of our own.
I don't even understand what that means, so Geno's going to explain it to me 4 more times.
Sean doesn't know what a ballot is, ladies and gentlemen. It's the most amazing thing in the world. So next time he starts burying shit, just try explaining a ballot to him and watch him just fumble fuck around his keyboard. What else was there? Was there anything else that we need to talk about?
This was the whole show. I mean, I think we got Triple H at the Open. We've been talking for fucking ever, so probably.
Seems like we've been here a long time.
Time to go.
All right, yeah.
Do you have a chant you'd like to sing us out with? Those seem really popular with people these days.
I will never chant. Don't ever ask me to chant.
So we're a couple of old Jim Cornette crusty motherfuckers, and you guys just have to deal with it.